Welcome to the Evo India News of the Week, our weekly segment that drops every Friday evening on the Evo India YouTube channel as well as on our podcast platforms. In this week's news, the big talking point is automotive safety. The latest Global NCAP crash safety ratings are out. We have the figures for the Volkswagen Virtus, the Skoda Slavia, also for the Maruti Suzuki Wagon and Alto. We are going to dive into that shortly. But before that, I want to ask you guys, what does safety mean to you? What does automotive safety mean to you? And are these global NCAP figures relevant to you, the buying public, the people who are buying Indian cars and SUVs? To us, these global NCAP figures are very important. Of course, very soon we will have the Bharat NCAP figures, which are specifically for India. But up to now, we don't really have anything else to go by to judge automotive safety. How are we going to tell you whether the car is safe or not safe? We can't possibly go and crash test cars. As journalists, that is not our forte. That is not our job. We are not going to get into that. But when a globally reputed agency like Global NCAP, when they do crash safety ratings, that is our benchmark to go by to rate cars on safety. Of course, when we test drive cars, we also talk about the feel of the car. If you go back when we drove the Taygun and the Kushaq, the first two SUVs that came off the India 2.0 program, we said that these feel inherently safe. They feel inherently solid. We said the same for the Slavia and the Virtus, the two sedans of the India 2.0 project. And we said that they feel safe. And now that feeling that we had, that has been backed up by the crash safety ratings. Full 5 stars. The Taygun and the Kushaq were already India's safest cars, the safest cars to be made right here in India. And now the Virtus and the Slavia go one step up on it. The safety figures are out and we will run you through all that data. So the first thing to note with the Skoda Slavia and the Volkswagen Virtus safety figures, these have been tested with 6 airbags. So it's the top of the line variant that has been tested. Whether it's been tested with the 1 liter TSI or the 1.5 TSI, we're not sure. I don't think that should make much of a difference. Obviously, it doesn't because otherwise the NCAP would have given out those ratings as well. Now, the scores of both the sedans are identical because both the sedans are the same. Apart from the styling bits on the front and the rear, the cars are the same. So the safety figures are the same. Now, both these sedans have scored marginally better than the SUVs. And that is a clear indication to you, the buying public, that cars are inherently safer than SUVs. Cars are slightly lower, so obviously the center of gravity is slightly lower, and that will obviously play a big role in the safety. So as for the figures, the sedans have scored 29.71 points out of a maximum of 34. The SUVs, they scored 29.64 points. It is marginal, but there is a difference. And both the sedans and the SUVs scored the same for child occupant safety, 42 points out of a maximum of 49. Remember, both these cars, the sedans as well as the SUVs, both have scored full 5 stars for child as well as driver occupant safety. I must jump across to the Global NCAP website and take you through some of the comments on the crash test. So on the frontal impact, which is the first test that you're seeing on your screen right now, the comment is that the protection offered to the driver's and passenger's head and neck was good. Drivers and passengers' chest showed adequate protection. Drivers and passengers' knees showed good protection. Driver's tibia showed adequate protection and passengers' tibia showed good protection. The footwell area was rated as stable. The body shell was rated as stable and it is capable of withstanding further loadings. On the side impact test, which is the second test that you see, the head, chest and abdomen protection was adequate while the pelvis showed good protection. In the side pole impact test, the curtain airbag met the fitment requirements and the pole impact test was performed in a version with side head protection airbags showing good protection to the head, abdomen and pelvis and marginal protection to the chest. Now ESP is standard on both the Slavia and the Virtus, all the variants in fact, and the comment was that the performance shown in the test was acceptable according to Global NCAP's latest requirements. For the child impact test, obviously the test was done using a child seat, and that is a reminder to you also, always have your children belted up in the child seat. For both the 3-year-old test as well as the 18-month-year-old test, the child seat was used. It was mounted in the rearward facing position and also using the isofix anchorages and the support leg. The Slavia, the Virtus, the Kushaq, the Taygun all get isofix mounting points. And the comment was that in the test, it was able to prevent head exposure during the frontal impact impact offering full protection. And in the side impact, both CRSs offered full side impact protection. So these are the tests for both the Slavia as well as the Virtus, full 5 stars, like I said, and an extremely important development for the Safer Cars for India movement. We need safer cars in India. Our road accident safety record is dismal. It is horrific. We have the worst accident record in the world. Now, of course, there are comments that say that the government should step in. There should be better rules. There should be better implementation. There should be better road safety that has been engineered, baked into the construction of our roads, in the signages, in the turnoffs, all of that. And that is absolutely true. The government does need to intervene. We need to have stricter legislation. For instance, people coming at the wrong side at you, they definitely need to be fined. Trucks driving without tail lamps, trucks parked on the side of the road in the middle of the dark and cars going into the back of it, all that needs to be curbed. But fact of the matter is that our highways right now are very unsafe, and that means that you need safer cars. In fact, that all means that we need even safer cars than they have in the US or in Europe for that matter, because our roads are inherently so safe. So we can't just put the blame on the government and say, let them sort it out. We have to have safer cars on our road. And the only way that will happen is when you, the buying public, buy with your money. When you buy safer cars, when you pick one car over the other just because of its crash safety ratings, that will move every single manufacturer down the path towards safer cars. I must also insert another comment here, and that is, it is not easy to engineer safe cars. For that, your body shell needs to be strong. What goes into that? Engineering, obviously, but also lots of high strength steel that makes your body also heavier than the competition. Both the Slavia and the Virtus, even the Kushaq and the Taygun, they aren't the lightest cars in their categories. In fact, they are the heaviest cars in the categories. And that is a result of all the safety that has been baked into the car. And you have to comment the Volkswagen Skoda group. They have not compromised on safety while re-engineering these cars for India. Now, if you recall, all these India 2.0 cars, they're based on the MQB A0 platform, MQB A0 iron for Indianized, and the ironing has been done to use Indian steels. If you even cycle back a little further on, the Polo, the Vento, the Rapid, all of those, even though they were made in India, they were using imported steels, and that's why they couldn't be price competitive. But now, with the India 2.0 project, with the localization being a big talking point so that they could be aggressively priced, they use Indian steels. So the re-engineering of the MQB A0 platform to make it MQB A0 iron has to do with using Indian steels. But the group did not compromise on safety. They used proper specification steel, maybe slightly heavier steel than what their rivals use, and that's why their crash safety ratings are right on top. And of course, we guys want to hear from you. How important is crash safety? Well, we aren't finished with crash safety because there are 2 more cars that were tested by Global NCAP, and both those fared very poorly. The Maruti Suzuki Alto K10, it scored 2 stars for adult occupant safety and 0 stars for child occupant safety. And the Maruti Suzuki Wagon, it scored 1 star for adult occupant safety and 0 stars for child occupant safety. Not good. There's no way to sugarcoat this. There's what do you say? This is just not good. Both these cars sell over 10,000 cars a month. These are consistently in the top 10 best-selling cars list. Tons of people buy it. You can't be selling cars that fare so poorly in crash tests. It's inexcusable, honestly. Fine, government needs to step in. They need to sort out our roads. They need to inculcate better education. Our licensing systems need to be sorted out. There's tons of stuff that need to be sorted out. You have to have more aggressive policing, everything. I agree. But your cars can't be so unstable in crash safety. Let's run through one of the comments on the Global NCAP website. The footwell area was rated as unstable. The body shell was rated as unstable and not capable of withstanding further loadings. I'm talking about the Wagon. The chest protection was marginal. The side pole impact not performed as the car does not offer side airbags. Obviously, now that will be implemented because once the 6 airbag rule is implemented, that will at least get sorted out. Yeah, but I don't know. There's nothing to say. is just not acceptable. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. And now let's move on to other breaking news this week. And sticking with the Skoda family, the Octavia has been discontinued. Now, with April, the new emission norms kicking in, the BS 6.2 emission norms kicking in, the Octavia has been discontinued. Will it be back? I don't know. Should it come back? You let us know in the comments. We definitely think that the Octavia should come back. That whole sedan segment is more or less dead. There are very, very, very few players left in it. In fact, the Octavia was the only real player out there. And now that that is also out, it's not good. It's not a good reflection about the cars that maybe enthusiasts want to buy. So I hope the Octavia comes back. And I also hope that the Octavia RS comes back. It's unlikely that that is going to be assembled in India. And now that it is a hybrid with the 1.4 turbo engine, it will be more expensive than the earlier RSs. Remember, the RS245 was very sweetly priced. The RS230 went up in price. It was not very competitive in terms of pricing. I hope the RS hybrid, that is priced sort of okay and gets more enthusiasts back in the fold, because enthusiasts, we still revere the RS brand name. The Octavia RS to us is still an absolute legend. In other news, the Tata Nexon EV Max, like with the dark treatment, it has got full black on the exterior, some nice little styling bits on the interior. Our images, videos, features, everything is embargoed till the launch, but we have seen it. And well, at the expense of breaking the embargo, I will tell you that it looks really cool. Globally, the Mercedes GLS and the GLS 63 AMG and the GLS Maybach, all of them have been facelifted. You can see the images on your screen right now. The grille is now larger, the bumpers are reprofiled, the air intakes have been accordingly tweaked. You get 20-inch wheels as standard on the GLS, 21 to 23-inch wheels on the GLS 63 AMG. 23-inch forged wheels for the Maybach with optional forged wheel bolt covers. It is offered standard as a 7-seater, that it continues. And in India, there is very strong demand for the GLS. The waiting periods on the GLS are really long. With the facelift, the engines have also been tweaked a bit. So the GLS 450, which is powered by the 3-liter petrol engine, the power goes up by 375 bhp and 500 Newton meters of torque. The GLS 580, powered by the 4-liter petrol engine, the power goes up by 510 bhp. The Mercedes Maybach GLS 600, it gets the same engine as the GLS 580, but power goes up to 550 bhp. The GLS 350D and the 450D, they get the same 3-liter diesel engine, making respectively 308 bhp and 362 bhp. The GLS 63 AMG gets the twin turbocharged V8 engine, 603 bhp, goes up to 625 bhp with EQ boost, and 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. This facelift will come to India this year because obviously the kits are imported from the plant in the US. So once the facelift is applied, we won't get kits of the old pre-facelift. So this is going to come to India very soon. And of course, when it comes to India, as with everything else, the price will go up a bit. So that is something to watch out for. Sticking with global news that is relevant to us in India, the Jeep Wrangler has been facelifted. Now, the Wrangler is assembled in India. I think India is still the only other market in the world apart from US where the Wrangler is assembled. And the Indian market Wranglers, they have that cool plate on the rear tailgate that has the American flag as well as the Indian flag. So obviously, this facelift will be applied to the cars that are rolling out of the Ranjangaon factory, which is just outside of Pune. As you can see in the styling, it still looks typically like a Wrangler, but obviously nice tweaks to make it a bit more modern and a bit more fresh. And before we jump into the last bit of news, this week we also had news of the new Harley-Davidson that has been engineered, designed and made in India for the Indian market, the smallest Harley-Davidson. What we assume it'll be either a 422 or a 442cc engine, a single cylinder, which has been developed by Hero MotoCorp, which is Harley-Davidson's official distributor for motorcycles here in India. We have spy images which are playing right now on your screen, and we have got a full video. The link should be up here somewhere, where we dived into all the insider information that we have on this new Harley-Davidson, which will be out by July, August, will go on sale just before Diwali, priced around 2.5 lakh rupees. So something very exciting for biking enthusiasts. And finally, we end this segment with the sketch of the new Mercedes-Benz E-Class, which will be unveiled on the 25th of April. We have images of the interior with the 3-screen layout, obviously more connectivity, more digitization that has gone into it. And this is the silhouette of the E-Class. It will be unveiled on the 25th of April. Thank you guys for watching this edition of the Evo India News of the Week. If you have any questions, you have any comments, drop it in the comments box below and let us know your thoughts on automotive safety. Thank you for watching and see you next week.